want to support the platform just in case anything like this happens again, you can do it by way of PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and also by the Anchor. And you can also further support the platform by way of going to the Teespring store or the shoe store that is located in the comment section below. Hundreds of Oath Keepers stated that they are or were employed by the United States Department of Homeland Security. A report published Monday found a revelation that comes about 2 weeks after two leaders of the far right militant group were convicted of seditious conspiracy in connection with the January 6th insurrection. Quote, extremism within our government is always alarming, but even more so in a department with a law enforcement and national security nexus like the DHS. In a joint investigation with the Organized Crime and Corruptions Reporting Project, the Project on Government Oversight found more than 300 people on a leaked Oath Keepers membership list describe themselves as current or former employees of Department of Homeland Security agencies, including the Border Patrol, Coast Guard, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and the Secret Service. Expert voiced alarm over far right extremists who, according to the DHS, pose the greatest domestic terrorist threat, working at a federal agency responsible for combating extremism. Quote, one active law enforcement official joining a militant group is one too many. This probably represents the tip of the iceberg as far as federal law enforcement officers that have been involved in or support the activities in far right militant groups like the Oath Keepers. And that was stated by Mark German, who is a former undercover FBI agent. Also, according to the report, they stated, despite its rhetoric opposing government oppression, the Oath Keepers is seen by many as hostile to civil liberties and rights. It has deployed armed groups in response to protests against police brutality against Black people, such as in Ferguson, Missouri, and in 2014 and 2015 at a Black Lives Matter protest in 2020. Many protesters and observers saw the Oath Keepers' presence as intimidating and in opposition to call for police accountability. Several members have left the group because they felt it was too extreme. And that was according to several leaked list contacts by OCCRP and POGO. At least one prominent ex member has described racism within its ranks, even though the group's bylaw bar members from discrimination, violence, or hatred towards any person based upon their race, nationality, creed, and or color. The new report follows the November 29th conviction of two Oath Keepers founders, Stuart Rhodes and Florida chapter leader Kelly Meggs, on seditious conspiracy charges for their roles in the January 6, 2021 attack on the United States Capitol by supporters of former President Donald Trump and his big lie that the 2020 presidential election was stolen. Quote, it's men like this on the inside who can and do provide information to expose what is going on. Rhodes also boasts that now we can add the DHS patch to our display of patches that shows that there are Oath Keepers among them that ought to get a few panties and a wad. Previous reports have also detailed infiltration by right wing extremists and white supremacists of the United States military and law enforcement agencies. Now, let me go back to something that they stated before, right? They said experts voiced alarm over far right extremists who, according to the DHS, pose the greatest domestic terrorism threat, working at a federal agency responsible for combating extremism. Now, I want people to note that they are not talking about Black men. I just want people to understand that because for the longest time possible, they've always put that boogeyman out there that the Black man is the most dangerous person in America. They're the most criminal minded, this, that, and the third, most violent and murderous, and all this other type of stuff, right? But they're literally telling you this is them telling about their own, telling about themselves on who is the most dominant, prominent threat on the face of this continent. And it is them. And I told y'all a while ago, I told y'all technically, actually, quite some years ago, right? That when it comes to your own people, y'all the main ones that cause the utmost damage. Now, in order to escape that narrative and to try to transition and change that so that you could be the good guy, you had to basically create a criminal, a darkness, a villain, aka the Black man. There you go. So therefore, whenever people want to say if you're really good or not, you can just, hey, if you don't believe that I'm good, look at the Black man. Look at what the Black man is basically doing, right? And that's in a sense what has been for the longest time possible. But now, because all of these things have been going on for oh so long and it's been left unchecked for far too long, this is what it has culminated into. Right. And I brought you stories over the years that talked about law enforcement agencies, that talked about, government positions, that talked about the FBI and so many other things that have been taken over by a lot of these entities who mean America harm. But yet, as I've told a field and a variety of people, no one is going to deem the reflective majority, right, as violent, as meaning harm, because they're quote unquote the good guys. They're the ones that's supposed to stand up for the Constitution, fight for the American way, truth, justice, and all that good stuff. But yet, you see what they're really up to doing. They're up to cause chaos. They're up for control. They're up for power because they have a multitude of people, some low ranking, mid ranking, and high ranking that are a part of these groups. And as I told people before, you have a lot of secret societies out there. And some of them really aren't secret because they're in plain sight, but yet they're still secret at the same time because people still won't actually believe or pay attention directly to these folks. They will just still look at, oh, huh, look at what the black man is doing. Look at the black man over here. Huh, look what these like, hey, like I said, when this comes to a neighborhood and a town and a city near you, and another insurrection or something else takes place, you ain't gonna be looking at black men. You gonna be looking at U-Hauls full of these Caucasian boys popping out. Like I said, people won't realize or to see it up until it actually happens, and then by the time that happens, it's already too late. So again, I already gave the signs and the symptoms and the warnings, previously, and now we're at this stop at the moment in time. So it's going to keep going, and it's going to all culminate into one final thing. So good luck.